So today, we are going to talk about oneness at work. Yes, I'm here to share with you, teach you, show you how you can experience who you really are at work. So let's get going. Hey there, my name is Gavin. This is the Onement. This is on my vlog. Yet today, I could probably put it under another subject of teaching. When I was doing my morning practice this morning, this is what came up. This is what came through. Like, this is what you're supposed to talk about today in your vlog. And if you haven't watched any of my other videos, I encourage you to go back and maybe start from day one. Yet I am teaching how to experience oneness. I'm teaching what oneness is, what it can look like, how to get there, and I'm on that path with you, right? So I'm not coming from some ascended master position, right? I'm inviting you on the journey. And here's the secret. We're all already one. We're all already connected with God. We're already source. We're anything you want to describe in your words, we are that. We just don't have that experience possibly some of the time, most of the time, right? And when I was meditating this morning, I was actually asking for guidance because I've been struggling in what I call work in my job. And this has been going on for years, right? And there's been some times that it's gone what I would call really well. And when I say well, it's less about the result of what I'm, getting from there and more about how I'm feeling and how I, the meaning I'm getting and like in tune with like my purpose and that I'm experiencing a level of oneness, of truth, right? So I'm going to share with you today what I'm doing, right? My actions in the direction of oneness at work. Now, I want to explain a couple of things first. To be on this path, you have to have the faith or the trust that everything that is happening, however you label it as good or bad, right, is actually nudging you, is actually in your favor towards, remembering, awakening to who you really are, right? So, we love it when things go the way we want. Like, oh, we're happy. This is great. This is what I wanted. I got the result I wanted. Now I'm happy. And then when things aren't going the way that we want, then we automatically have this assumption like, oh, I'm on the wrong path, or this isn't fun, or I hate this, or this is, you feel like a victim, right? And I can so relate to that. I feel like if you watch any of my other videos, I feel like I've been on this circle with my career life that it's like, I want to get off the ride. I want to get off the ride. And I know though, and I'm telling you, you're still on the ride. I'm still on the ride because there's still more to learn. Like, this is for my highest purpose, for our highest purpose. This is kind of the contract. This is the direction. This is the script, right? And we can run from that and be victims, or we can step into that, own it, and like accelerate that growth. And so what I'm going to share with you today is what it looks like to do that in your job, in your career, and what you do as work. And so see if you can relate. There's a lot of times I wake up and my mind starts thinking like, oh, I got to go do this today. I'd rather do this. And so immediately there's a vibration of negativity that like work is this like bad thing, that there's not anything we can gain from it besides like collecting a paycheck or needing to pay bills, or this really, when you look at it, like this scarcity mentality towards work, right? And so what I'm being guided, and I'll talk about this a lot because I feel like I'm sharing this journey of like this awakening. I'm getting these downloads. I'm getting this advice. I don't know if you would call it, voices necessarily, but, I really feel like I'm on this journey and, I've been like guided to share that journey and what I'm being shown and then what I'm trying to apply. So what came up today was that this, realization and this reminder, because it's been told to me before, that I'm looking at it all wrong, that I'm in sales and it's, like you make a sale, you make money. And if you don't, like you don't. And so it can really be this high pressure environment. It can be like, difficult because it's easy to feel bad if you don't get the sale, right? Which for years, I was good at not having that mindset at all. I became very detached, okay? And then was just there about service with people. And it was crazy, like how it was just about service and I could care less if they did it or not, how more and more people did that, right? And I did that for years. And then I moved and I've started a new job. And what I've noticed is I don't have there's a certain way they want it to be done. So I'm back into all these triggers. So I want you to look at your work. Does your boss trigger you? Do your activities trigger you? Do you, like a lot of the things you're doing or not like the things that you're doing because you feel like you have to do them, right? Well, right now I'm feeling triggered because it's not really conducive how I've been doing it. It's a rigid process. And it's about like closing, right? Which I haven't really been about closing. It's been about serving. So the reminder today for me was that, this is an opportunity. My work is part of my ascension, a part of my remembering, a part of my awakening, and that these are perfect opportunities to experience oneness, to practice oneness in an activity that I'm judging as not fun or that I'd rather not be doing. If I wasn't supposed to be here, I wouldn't be here. I want you to really hear that. Wherever you are is exactly where you're supposed to be. Whatever's happening in your life is exactly what's supposed to be happening, regardless of if you judge it that way or not. And then we get to either become aware of that and be about it, or we get to close our minds off, close our hearts off, and just shut down and kind of delay the inevitable. And then what that creates is pain. What that creates is avoidance, and you start building up these energies that are usually negative coming out in the form of anger and pain and hurt, that if we just dove into it willingly and knew that this was all divine and all what we're calling forth, it can be a completely different shift away from the pain and towards the love, okay? So how I am really concentrating and focusing on these appointments is I'm there to be of service. I'm there to help see if what I have to offer fits their needs. I'm there to love these people. A lot of people aren't very, maybe open to salespeople in a very positive way, right? So that's very just distrustful right when I walk in the day. It's very this feeling of separation, this feeling of divide, of I don't know about you, I don't trust you, I've had bad experiences about you, all this stuff from the past comes up. For them and for me, I have countless memories of being judged, right? And so, but what a sacred opportunity to get to look at them as truth, as one, as love, regardless of how they are showing up, okay? And ultimately, at a deep level, I'm mirroring these people, I'm creating these people, and so are you, your boss, your coworkers, your everything at work, right? And that's what's so frustrating if you're on this path, is oh my gosh, this is kind of my creation. And that can, be difficult pill to swallow. So as I go into these appointments with this vibration of service, of them, of making sure that this is what they want, if it works for them in many different ways, and then being detached from the outcome, then I'm getting to really get closer to and have that experience of love, of oneness, that they are not separate from me, that I am serving me, I am serving us together as the whole, right? And so the intention, and this is the key part, the intention isn't going in with the sale. The intention is going in with the healing from separation to one, okay? And therefore, all my actions, all my words, all my vibrations and energy and feelings is around that, which then they get to pick up on. And if it's supposed to be, it will happen. And if it's not supposed to be, it won't happen. And that's good for both parties, because what's good for, one is good for both, right? And so talk about an allowing. That's my word for the year. Talk about a trust. Talk about like a knowing that everything that's happening is what was supposed to happen. And that I just show up from my best form of love, my best form of like who I really am. And let's talk a little bit about what that would look like for you. First and foremost, let's just say you forget to charge your iPhone or your Samsung or whatever phone you have, right? You wake up in the morning and it's like on empty and you're like, oh no, like my phone takes a while to charge. I need my phone today. We're all kind of attached. Maybe you're not. I bless you for that. I'm working on that. Yet, that's what we do in bringing oneness and bringing truth to our day, is we wake up kind of depleted. And what do I mean by that? We don't put good things into our body, like water and, good food that, helps like raise our vibration and replenishes us. We don't possibly do any exercising to like really, wake our everything up. Okay. And I don't want to just make this about the body, we're physical bodies, yet we're having this experience physically, yet I know we're souls, and there's a lot more going on there. That's not what this video is about. Yet, what are you doing to energize yourself to getting back into alignment in the morning so that you're charged, so that you are coming as the source of love, that like when you go out into the world, when you go to work and your coworker like he's hello, good morning, and they're like and instead of like going, oh my gosh, that person's always so rude, that like you can be the light, that doesn't affect you. Like, hey, maybe that makes you would engage them, like, hey, what's going on, how's your morning going? And like you get to like be there for them. You get to like give them what they may be feeling lack in that moment. You get to be the source. You get to be the creator. Like, how cool is that? Then you might have a conversation, a meeting with your boss, and all the old triggers that come up, like this, the meeting with other people in it. And, like one guy always asks the same question. He's like, oh, be quiet. Why do they always ask this? Or why do they prolong the meeting? Or it's boring and you don't feel like it's purposeful. And there's all this analyzation. I go through this all the time. Like, what are we doing here? This is like the same old. And people love to feel like they're doing something that's like beneficial. And so we come up with all these excuses to do that. And I think in the business world, that's in the form of meetings, right? So notice those triggers. And if you're in that aligned, energized truth space, then you can just observe it without going there, without having the triggers of that negativity, right? And then, when you're coming from that source, and you're in that space, then you get to be the giver of that to everybody that you come in, contact with. And it's not about going in your day like this to-do list of, I have to get this done. And you might have a to-do list, but it's like, how do I get it done from this vibration that I'm actually being and experiencing that through that activity? And that I'm giving, that vibration, that energy, that love through that activity. And what you'll notice is how everything you're doing like changes, and like the result will change, but you're not doing it with the intention of like a certain result. Okay. You're doing it with the intention of like coming from love, coming from, that alignment to truth. And so this is the training. This is what this starts looking like. And what will happen is, as you detach of like, you don't go into work from like what I can get and what I can like receive and what I need from this place, but you go as like the collaborator, the allower, the giver. And because that's the truth of who you really are, you're going to notice things that used to happen shift. Of Course in Miracles would call this a miracle, a change in perception, right? And what changed? Like, you know, a lot of people are like, wow, that was crazy. That was a different day at work. Like, that was just happenstance. No, your perception changed because of like where you were coming from was from love and from a different vantage point. And so how you normally showed up was from love. And so you saw everybody differently. You didn't have the reactions. You don't have the triggers. And therefore, it's way more enjoyable. It's way more peaceful, and for everybody involved. And that's a microcosm of that's what's happening on this planet. This is kind of the work. This is the challenge, is to be in that space from coming from your inner truth and then bringing that to what appears this world, right? And so all these things that we may perceive as like, oh, we don't like doing, like work, is probably at the top of the list for a lot of people, are really catalysts for our advanced growth, are really opportunities for us to dive into this experience. And eventually, there won't be a need for that catalyst anymore. We'll dissolve that aspect of ourselves that need to be healed. And there will be new opportunities of possibly abundance, of how we receive, financially. Yet, if we're here right now, there is beingness, there is love to allow in that experience, okay? So, just a quick review. If you have trouble, resistance with work, which I'd say most people do, and you're on the spiritual path and you're like, oh my gosh, I just really want to get this. You're there for a reason. Get that first. Secondly, really, show up at work with a full charged battery. Like, don't show up. I want to say, like a lot of times I said it in the past, like, don't show up to a gun show or a gunfight with like a rock, right? And spiritually, that's a terrible example to use, okay? But don't show up to work with a computer that, a laptop that's not charged, okay? And be in that energy. And so I'll do what I do, I'll share with you what I do on another video of like my morning practice. And it's becoming about an hour to an hour and a half, which is crucial, of like getting back in that alignment, getting back in that truth. So then I can notice when I'm not in it, notice when I've gone to negativity, or notice like a drop, okay? But if you're already in a negative state, right when you show up to work, that's when you're ping-ponging and reacting and everything. Like, gosh, what a terrible day. And you don't notice it because that was the vibration you showed up with. But as you're at this higher vibration, as you've raised, that alignment level to source, you're going to notice when it's being challenged, when it's being attacked. And then you can choose and consciously be aware of staying in that vibration and knowing that you're able to stay there and give that to your surroundings, okay? And then from there, like, you're experiencing oneness. You don't need anything to happen a certain way because you're being who you really are. And that's a huge gift. That's a huge aspect of this towards self-realization, that there's nothing out there that needs to happen for you to overflow with joy, abundance, peace, anything positive you can imagine. It starts within, and then you get to go be that and give that, right? And then whatever transpires, again, is what was supposed to transpire, You'll get stuff mirrored back to you that is amazing, that'll appear like miracles, and you're on that path. And then it's like more and more and more, and everything, there's like a huge new set point that happens. And our careers and that job is the perfect opportunity. And I understand I'm not a huge fan of like this fact. I have so much resistance to it too. Like, I'm sharing other videos, like with authority, but bosses are like a big trigger. And it's like, I feel like a lack of love. I feel a lack of acceptance. And really, so do they. And I have realized I get to heal within me what appears to be lacking through loving them, through giving to them, through not taking it personal, through still showing up as my truth, regardless of how they treat me, okay? You get to do that too. So I would love to hear your stories on this. I would love to hear that, something that you did that possibly was like created a different result that was mirrored back to you. Love to hear from you. So I will talk to you again soon. Have so many wonderful more things planned, and I appreciate your time, and I appreciate you being on this journey with me, and looking forward to so much more. We're just getting started. Much, much love, my brothers, my sisters, and blessings to you. Go.